Hello everyone and welcome to Moon Ride. This is Dave Johnson and I'm channeling the man in the moon. I have added a new service to my website, and that is a form of hypnosis. It is my specific form of hypnosis. That is, I'm bringing in a good deal of channeling and shamanic elements. I've studied with quantum healing and BQH healing, but this is specifically my own version of this work. I really recommend this work. I find it incredibly life-changing, actually, and so have all the people who I've worked with. I would just make one suggestion, and that is before you do engage in any kind of healing, you take a very careful look at the person's website and background and make sure that that is the person for you. Today, I want to look at an extremely important topic, and that topic is what I can only describe as a sort of mass hysteria. Many people, especially in the United States, and I have to say it doesn't really happen, it doesn't really exist very much here in Australia, are reading and believing these anti-vax material. While I have skepticism for medical bodies and pharmaceutical companies, this is a form of mass hysteria. If you look beyond any of the work that they present, anybody who is believing this stuff, there really is nothing to believe here. Please get the jab. There's no reason why not to do that. Millions and millions and millions of people have taken the jab, and thus far no one has died as far as we know from the effects. There are a few people in Japan who may have gotten a bad batch, and something may have got into that particular vial. We don't know that even for sure. So today's question is, how do we deal with this situation? And again, I want to emphasize this really is a sort of mass psychosis, a mass hysteria. So my first question is why? Why are people believing these outrageous stories? So I'm seeing a person, and they're sitting at a laptop, and they're alone. They've been alone for a while. They're having difficulty, just practically speaking, connecting with others. And, we could say this is because of the virus. We can also say it's just our times. We now communicate through this laptop. And so, they've become so isolated that the person on the other end is their new friend. That person on the other end could be a real person, it could be a fake person, it could be somebody who's sort of also participated in this mass psychosis. And if you want to be friends with that person, you also have to participate in the mass psychosis. So we're sort of creating these little clubs online. These can be very useful and helpful, but unfortunately some people, through sadness, I believe, I see the woman cry, through loneliness, and just sort of disenchantment, I can see her just sort of departing from the group. You also understand, everybody wants to be special. Everybody wants to be that person that knows all of the answers. It's a normal thing for people to want to feel important. Sadly, I believe these people have not. What I'm seeing here is they haven't really taken the steps to understand themselves. They are maybe a little bit afraid of themselves. They're afraid to sit down and be with themselves. Why? Is there other reasons? There's not really any other reasons why people do this. This is an advent of the technology that we now have, which can be beneficial, but can be very harmful. You might think of us as children with a loaded gun, Some kids are going to be smart enough to take the bullets out. Some kids are going to be curious, and some kids are going to get angry and shoot. We just haven't reached the emotional maturity to understand the technology that we have. So it's very important for us to not get too angry at people. It's natural in some ways that they're going in this direction, and they have to find the path themselves. So, who is manipulating us? This is very dark. They're very dark forces who are manipulating us in this way. And it's somebody you don't know. It's somebody you'll never see. There are some people, sure, who we know about. There's 12 people spreading this misinformation in the United States. But there's a very calculated form of darkness. And if you want to know why, some people just want to have power. It might not even have anything to do with money. They just want to have power. And keep in mind, all of us want to have power. That's not wrong in and of itself. The person who's believing these theories wants to have some power, some control over their lives. That is a natural thing. But the dark forces that are controlling all of this, again, some of it is just for power, some of it's for money, and some of it truly is pure darkness. They are infected with their own sort of darkness. So, final question, what can we do about it? We who are living in a society, and truly all of us are suffering from this. It is a terrible burden, almost worse than the previous president. How can we live with this? You can't change their minds. That's the first thing I get. Just forget trying to change anybody's minds. You can maybe speak to them and debate with them in front of others in a calm way. And I would just say obvious things like, how do you know that? Where did you get this information from? Do you know that person's real? You will not change their minds, but if there are other people in the room, you might get some satisfaction. But just do this with compassion. If you're going to do this with a way of kindly showing them the truth. If you're going to go there, 99% of the time, you should just avoid it. Just go to the places that you need to do. Much like the being locked in and the virus, we all had to look in on ourselves and work on ourselves and maybe work on some very close relationships and things. We have to do that again now. It is just a further step in going inside of ourselves, learning what we can learn, and it is also in some ways hopeful in that we know who we want to talk to today. We know who we can work with. Is there anything else we can do? See this for what it is. See this as a form of psychosis, a mass psychosis. We've never experienced anything quite like this before. It's worthwhile to just stand back and ask yourself why this is happening and, how those people are being manipulated. We are here to notice that and to do those small little things that will help. So one of them is self-help. Move into yourself. And the other is truly act with compassion. Maybe you can't help those particular people and change their mind, but you could go volunteer someplace today, or just do a kind thing for someone, or be a good friend and listen. All of those things that we kind of already know are important, that we figured out when we were in lockdown for a year. They're just not finished. We just got to keep going with that. And again, the most important thing is try not to get too angry at people who are spreading this misinformation. They are simply naive. They are like a a child with a rocket ship. They don't yet know how to use it. Thanks so much for watching.